for all 0 viewers to be hanging out with us. Hey guys. Hey all of you. You know, us.
Are you on right now?
Yeah, we're on the air.
Oh.
I'm gonna play our intro music just because it's perfect. Please work. Yeah. Bum, 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 bum. Get you in the mood. Hockey Talk, brought to you by TJ Branson and Zach Vogel. Dude, so there's this guy on Twitter. He's being really nice. He's like our biggest fan. Maybe not biggest fan, but probably our only fan.
Sweet, we have a fan?
Yeah, dude. All right, so his name is...
It's not Chuck Dunn?
No, it's not Chuck Dunn. It's T. Demota. Or Demata, maybe. But his name is just listed as a period, just a period. But there was this guy, he was like, all right, so I listen to, Elliot Friedman's podcast. I listen to Bob McKenzie's podcast, The Hockey News, Steve Dangle, Spittin' Chicklets. They're all go-to podcasts for me. Twitter, am I missing any other good hockey podcasts? And this guy was like, yeah, you should listen to 5-Hole Fantasy Hockey. Good content, great delivery. So thank you, T. I'm going to call you T. I think it's Tony. But
that definitely sounds like a T name that would go Twitter with the handle. Last name Tomato.
It's sounds Italian. But yeah, man. Thanks for the kind words.
Good stuff, dude.
All right. So hockey stuff. Dude, Desi was being such a dickhead today.
What was he doing?
He was cool. Like for the first half of the day, we slept until 9. I slept in his room on the twin bed there. And we slept till like 9, which is, never happens. And then we woke up, we had breakfast, and then we went to the park around 10:30. And he's playing, kind of talking himself out. Then right around 11:30, almost noon, I think he started getting tired or something, because that's usually his nap time, and I don't do nap time just so that he sleeps better at night. And if I wasn't holding him, he was just bawling his eyes out. So I was like walking around doing all my chores, fucking washing dishes with a baby in this hand and like trying to hold the dish while arming him and like, oh man. And then I put him down and he ground and like he does this thing, I think it's on purpose, where he bangs his head on the floor so that he cries harder. He's like, oh, I'm faking it right now, but if I hurt myself, it'll be real. So he did that. I was just getting pissed off. And the cats, they peed on everything, again, because that's what they always do. And that had me in a bad mood already. And then he was being a dick. So like I was being short with him, but he fell asleep on the way here. And then my mom, they took my car to the courthouse.
Good stuff. Now it's Jameson time.
I need it. Vic, she just landed. She'll be home in like 2 hours. She wants me to cook, and I guess we're going over her fucking family's house. I'm not excited for that at all, because I probably got to cook for everybody. And she's like, no, my mom's going to cook. And that's bullshit. As soon as I get there, they're going to be like, oh, okay, cook's here. Everybody go out and have fucking margaritas and just fuck this guy. He can clean up too.
Well, they make you clean up too? I'd be pissed. I mean, I don't mind cooking for a lot of people. But that's like one of my rules. I'll do all the cooking in the world, but I'm not gonna clean up too.
That's an even trade to me. Is if you cook, you don't clean. If you don't cook, then you clean, and that's the way it should be. But they're like this fucking guilt trip family, and they're just like, oh, you're just gonna leave this mess everywhere. And I was like, yeah, that was the plan. It was like, this is your house. I just fucking cooked all this food that I bought, and now you clean. It's that easy. I don't know. I'm not excited. I don't like going over there because they just like bitch at you all the time and fucking, I don't know. I don't feel like dealing with it, but that's what I got to do.
Hey, I mean, as for me, Karina's up in PA right now.
Yeah.
So I'm just down here chillaxing.
All by lonesome.
I'm gonna go fishing after we're done.
Perfect.
And then I have off tomorrow, and I'm probably gonna go fishing tomorrow.
Yep.
And then I work day shift the 2 days after that, so I'll probably go fishing after work. So
I haven't gone this year yet.
That's all I do, man.
I told you about the time I told
work Vic and I go fishing.
I told Vic I was going fishing,
and you took a nap.
Oh. Yeah, I took a nap in the parking lot of the lake because I don't know. I was up all weekend, and she was like, "Oh, you deserve a few hours to yourself." I'm like, "Yeah, I do. I'm going fishing." And I packed all my stuff up, and like she didn't notice that I didn't like line my rod at all. It was just it like breaks apart at the middle, and it was still broken apart. She didn't notice. I was just like, yeah, I didn't catch anything. It was kind of bullshit, but that's what it is. It's a good thing she doesn't listen to this podcast. All right, time to fuck up the intro. All right. I don't know if I'm feeling hockey yet. So how about the Capitals?
I'm not surprised.
Not surprised.
I'm definitely not surprised, but I mean, I was rooting for the Knights. You know I was. I know you were rooting for the Capitals, but
that would have been a hell of a story. Have you been like following any of Ovechkin's like his what he's doing right now?
Yeah,
I don't know if it's showing up on social media on your side.
He's like taking the cup all those different places. He's fucking laying in bed with it and drinking beer out of it like everybody does. And
I wonder if he's been sober for 1 second since then.
Hey, like don't get me wrong. Like I'm happy for the guy. Like he deserves it after what 14, 15 years? How long's he been in the league?
He got drafted, I think it was a year after Crosby. So yeah, right around 13, 14, 15, something like that.
Yeah. So I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I'm happy for him, but I was still rooting for the Knights. And after that game 1, like I was like, shit, like I was right. Like I knew they were going to be able to hold their own. And it's not like, okay, don't get me wrong. It's not like they weren't able to hold their own because they were pretty much in like every game until they had to like pull their goalie. And then it was like a one goal loss turns into a 2-goal loss. You know what I mean? It looks a lot different. But yeah, I mean, it's not like they weren't in the game, but it is what it is.
It's a perfect segue into talking about regression. I don't know if they're going to be able to do it next year, but we'll see.
I don't know if Fleury is going to be able to do it next year.
They're not giving him like 8 years or anything like that. Fuck that. But yeah, you got like who's up for? I think it's David Perron and James Neal are probably on like either the trade block or the free agency block, and they're just going to look a lot different next year. And Alex Tuch is going to have to shoulder a lot of that. Probably be a first liner.
Yeah, but also like they have so many draft picks and all that kind of stuff that they can trade some of those draft picks to get another good player. Like it's not like they're going to be different, but they're not going to. I don't think they're going to be less. You know?
Yeah. I mean, the Pacific's a pretty easy division to be first place in. So
it's just the assets. They have those assets, and that's a huge thing. And it looks like they're not going to trade. They're not going to change the
system.
Yeah, they're not going to change the like the draft system for when Seattle comes out.
Yep.
Because that was like a whole big stink because number one, I thought it was kind of bullshit that like everybody's pissed that they're good.
Yeah. You build a team around second and third liners. Like you got most teams protected 10 people, so you get the 11th best person on the team, which is usually like a third liner or a second liner too, because people were protecting goalies and defensemen and shit. So you have 4 lines that are all second lines. So even your fourth line is better than the other team's fourth line. So they were able to roll 4 lines.
Yeah, and it's like, so everyone's mad because Vegas was supposed to be shitty and now they're not. So they were calling for changes in the draft for when Seattle is coming out, and so that it doesn't happen again. Oh, fuck that, dude.
Well, I think
why should the team coming in just automatically be trash?
They're paying $150 million more than Vegas is going to have to. Vegas doesn't get any of that money, but also they're exempt from like, you know how every team got like $50 million or whatever it was. Vegas gets no money, but they also don't have to like submit a protected list. They don't get to they don't get to pull from Vegas's team. So Vegas stays. Everybody else gets like a shit ton of money and gives up their 12th best player. But I
think people need to stop bitching.
There's going to be a lot less side deals. People are going to start valuing more people like Florida. They gave up Marchessault instead of Alex Petrovich or whatever his name is. And they were like, no, we want to protect this guy. He's fucking great. And you fucking sell two players, first of all, both winding up being first liners. And Marchessault put up, 75 this year? So
Marchessault kicked ass.
He would have been like a superstar. All right, here we go. I almost want to listen to the intro again and do another 6 shots or so. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to 5-Hole Fantasy Hockey Radio. I'm your host, TJ Branson, and joined with me once again is Zach Vogel.
Hey.
So last episode, we talked bounce backs. These are players who played kind of poorly this year, like less than their standard. They're going to play, at least in our mind, they're going to play better next year or a lot better in the upcoming year. So today we're doing the opposite. Players who played way too well this year and due to drop off a little bit.
Regression.
I'm sure you can think of some people. There are definitely some players on the forefront of our minds, the tip of our tongues. You look at people like William Karlsson, Sean Couturier, Taylor Hall, Matt Barzal, Mikko Rantanen, Nathan MacKinnon, so on and so on and so on. So what we're going to do is we're going to try and find out a reason for the success this year and whether or not it is sustainable into next year's fantasy hockey season. So I kicked off last episode's. I'm going to start that all over. Not the entire thing. I kicked off last episode. This time we're going to start with you, Zach. Who do you think is going to regress?
Give me 1 second.
Take your time. Just going to drink straight out of the bottle. I'm not even going to mix.
You want me to start with Mikko, right?
Nathan MacKinnon, because I think...
Oh, you're doing Mikko?
Yeah. Maybe I'm... Yeah, I have like...
I thought you said you were doing Nathan MacKinnon before.
No, I think I was going to have you start off with MacKinnon because I wrote a lot about... I mean, we could both go on Mikko Rantanen.
That's fine. I got you.
I know in your outline you had like both of them kind of jumbled together.
Yeah, I did like a thing on both of them.
Both, and then focus on MacKinnon a little, or Mikko Rantanen a little harder.
That's fine. I got it.
All right.
Give me 1 second.
I wish I could smoke inside.
Me too. Okay, so TJ, I'm looking to start with the guys over in Colorado. So we've said it before, about 2 years ago, we were all picking up anybody who's playing Colorado. Nobody wanted anybody who was on Colorado because they were scoring like 1, maybe 2 fucking goals a game, but they were getting 7 goals scored on them. Yeah. And then all of a sudden last year, they kind of start coming into their own. And Nathan MacKinnon just broke the fuck out. Matt Duchene got traded. I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but it does seem like wherever that poor guy goes, just turns into a trash-ass team. Which kind of sucks because honestly, like I like Matt Duchene as a player. I think he has a lot of talent, but
Do you remember what he said?
What?
He said, I want to get traded to a playoff team.
And he did. He did get traded to a playoff team.
Just too little, too late.
He got traded to a playoff team, and then that playoff team turned into a non-playoff team.
Big
and the
time.
team that he was on went to the playoffs. Like, I don't know. It's weird. But so I have two guys that I really think are intertwined, and I'll let you take the lead on one of them. It's Mikko Rantanen and Nathan MacKinnon. I think that they're gonna sink and swim together. Now Nathan MacKinnon, in all honesty, he's a great player. He just always seems to be in the right place at the right time. So I mean, it's just, as far as I'm concerned with MacKinnon, he just has a really good knowledge of the ice and has a lot of smarts when it comes to playing the game. He's taking good shots. And I mean, hell, what did he have? He had 97 points this year.
Yeah.
In
74 games. That's absurd. Yeah.
And his previous two seasons, he had 52 points, 53 points.
I think his previous season high was his first year, his rookie year. He got like 63 points back in 2013.
Yeah.
So he broke, like you said, broke the fuck out.
So, I mean, he beat that by 34 points. The past two seasons, he beat him by 35 points. Like, it's craziness. But also, hey, I know people hate the whole plus minus thing, but he was finally on the plus side.
Yeah.
I mean, people hate plus minus. I don't, because that tells me personally, that tells me how your team is doing in general.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that tells me if you're scoring goals. That tells me if you're having a lot of goals scored on you. A lot of times that'll tell me if you're winning games. So, I mean, it means something to me, but hey, that's just me. So on top of the fact that he had all those points, he had almost double the amount of points, or not points. He had almost double the amount of PIMs from his previous high. His previous high was 34. He had 55 PIMs this year. Last year, he had 16. Power play points, he was double digits. He had 12.
12 power play goals.
I'm sorry. He had 12 power play goals. So he was double digits there. And power play points, he had 32. Guy had a great season, and since his rookie year, where his shooting percentage was 10, he's been below 10%. Below. Last year, he was up to 13.7 on his shooting percentage. I mean, it's not like he was taking too many more shots than he usually did. He took 30 more shots than he did the previous year. But don't get me wrong, I mean, that's okay, but we've seen some guys that take out of nowhere, they'll take 100 more shots than they did the year before. So, I mean, it's not like he's taking too many more shots than he did before. He's just taking better shots. So, I mean,
and 13.7, that's not way out of the realm of sustainability. It's just,
it's
more than double that he had last year. And I don't know, the 13.7, you look at guys like Crosby who have been able to an average something like that. So that could, continue to happen. And MacKinnon, like you were saying, man, he's a fucking good player, knows where to be. So,
and he's a BFG.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed that, but he is a
6 foot, 205. Not bad.
I like him. I mean, I thought about trading for him last year, but the price was too high.
Is this a guy you're looking at in the first or second round next year, or is it kind of all right, no. So he showed us 1 year of almost 100 points. He was on 115 point pace if he would have played a full season, with those extra 8 games. 97 points. I don't know. He would have broke 100 without a doubt. He would have definitely given Connor McDavid a run for his money. I don't know the exact number there. I don't feel like doing math. But I mean, he was pretty good all around. His faceoffs were kind of shitty. He was 50% last 2 years ago, way down to 40, almost 40% this year. Time on ice is lame. That's standard. But he did finally get this breakout. He was a first overall draft pick back in 2013. This is what Colorado, this is what they wanted out of him, and they finally got it. So do you see him keeping this next year?
Well, I have him on my regression page for a reason.
So you think he's like a 75, 80 point player, or is he like a 90 plus?
I don't think he's going to get 90 plus. Again, I mean, don't get me wrong. I could be wrong. But do I see him sustaining 90 plus seasons like throughout the years? No. I mean, I kind of see this as a drop in the bucket. He hasn't done it before. It's not the fact that he's not good, but okay, is Kerfoot gonna come back and be a strong player next year? Is Rantanen gonna come back and be a strong player next year? How's their goalie situation gonna turn out? I mean, it all depends on these things. So you asked earlier if I would draft him in the first, second round. No.
Third round?
Would you?
Like third round.
Okay, I would think about drafting him in the third round.
Yeah.
Third round, fourth round, fifth round. Yes, I'm drafting him in that area. But am I drafting him with my first or second pick? No.
Nope.
No. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be an asshole about it, but
197 point year. 197 point year can't carry you. I mean, what if he goes back to being a 60-point player? So you just wasted your first or second round pick on a guy who had one incredible year.
Hell, before this, he was only a 60-point player once. Yeah. What if he goes back to being a 50-point player? What if he goes back to being a fucking 30-point player?
Then
you know what I mean? And I draft him in the second round. That's a mistake that's really hard to come back from. Yeah. And if you're going to draft somebody that high, number one, you're not going to want to trade them. Okay, so last year his draft stock was so high, and it was a good idea to trade him. Don't get me wrong, because he was doing good, so maybe you wanted him on your team. But at the price that you drafted him at, which was probably in the, let's be honest,
8, 9, 10.
I was gonna say double digits. You drafted him pretty low.
Yeah.
So you got him for cheap, and then when you're trading him, you're getting somebody good out of it, because this is a guy who's at the top of the league in scoring.
That's essentially like trading the 10th round pick for a second round pick.
Exactly.
Even a first round pick. I mean, last year he played like a first round pick.
Yes, he did.
It's just whether or not he's going to carry that into next year is where you're going to draft him next year. I'm thinking third round is pretty safe. If you want to reach, I mean, be my guest. I'm thinking like
it's just all
between 3 and 5.
It all comes down to me as, do you trust the Colorado Avalanche? And
that's, we're going to break right into Mikko Rantanen, who just, Jesus Christ.
I don't know if I do. I don't know if I do trust the Colorado Avalanche. And hell, as you know, I mean, how we played NHL all the time. And what's one of the teams that I always used to just kick your ass with, and you hated it, and they weren't really good, like even on the game, but for some reason I just always play well with them. It was Colorado. They were good with Landeskog. Yeah. Oh man, I do love Mason Gabriel Landeskog. In that game, he's like a hat trick just waiting to happen.
Absolutely.
But yeah, crazy. So I mean, it really does. It comes down to whether you trust the Colorado Avalanche. So I had said earlier that Nathan MacKinnon and a player like Mikko Rantanen are entwined.
Get that part. Start that.
What do you?
I lost you.
Okay, so I had said earlier that Nathan MacKinnon and a player like Mikko Rantanen, their futures are entwined.
Yeah. Yeah, they're gonna sync together. They're gonna float together. I guess, I don't know, whatever that phrase would be. Shit, what is that phrase? Well, I don't know. But yeah,
good enough. But let's hope they float.
Yeah, their fates are intertwined. Mikko Rantanen, 21 years old, 6'4", 211 pounds, BFG. 21 years old, right wing, left-handed shot. He just finished his second year in the league. In 16-17, his rookie year, he played 75 games, had 38 points. That's like a half point per game. 20 goals, 18 assists. He was a minus 25, but so was everybody on that 16-17 Colorado Avalanche. He had 10 power play points, 4 goals, 6 assists, and took 133 shots, but still at 15%. He was playing 18 minutes on ice and had a pretty good face-off percentage. You're not taking like too many face-offs, but he was above 50% in that mark. Didn't take too many hits, didn't block too many shots. This year, he played 81 games, had 84 points, so he's above a point per game player. Easily doubled his total from the year before, had 29 goals and 55 assists. Jesus fuck. Even plus-minus rating, and he had 35 power play points, 12 power play goals, 23 power play assists. With Duchesne leaving, he was able to hop onto that top line with him and Landeskog and MacKinnon. It really worked out for him. Took like 45 more shots at 16.3% this year. So, I mean, that's 2 years in the league, 2 years above 15% as his shooting percentage. We don't really have a lot to go on, but hey, that could be what he is as a person. Was playing like 19 minutes a game.
You honestly believe though that he's a 15+ shooting percentage guy in the league?
Like, that's his average right now. His average is
his average is 15.3.
And looking into his minor league and junior stats,
hard to believe.
Looking in his minor league and his junior stats, he was a point per game player at the AHL level. He was playing with the San Antonio Rampage. He put up 60 points in 52 games. He's 21 years old. He was a 10th overall pick in 2015. He's a BFG. He's a first rounder. So I know you love this guy. You love your first rounders. There's nothing else.
Who doesn't love first rounders and big fucking guys? What kind of hockey team does not love first rounders and big fucking guys? Yes, I like those two things about my hockey players.
So there's not a huge sample size, but his stats from junior year or his junior days, like he's been a point per game player. So I don't think he's going to be over a point per game player like he was this year. But if him and MacKinnon can continue their success, then no reason to say Mikko Rantanen is not going to be at least close. I think 70 points as well within reach, depending, like we had said before, on MacKinnon's performance. Those 55 assists that he had this year were probably heavily on the back of Nathan MacKinnon. So there we go.
Well, that's exactly what I was saying. So, like, if MacKinnon has a down year, you know that Mikko Rantanen was on a fuck ton of those assists and had Nathan passing the puck and all that sort of stuff, giving him good shots. Now, I'm not saying that Mikko Rantanen is not a good player. He obviously, at least through the first couple of years, has shown that he can do it, and he can take good shots and be on the ice and make the right decisions. I'm not saying that he's not good. I just think that if one has a down year, the other is going to suffer. It's something I've seen too many times.
I just think that his promotion to the top line is like we're going to see Mikko Rantanen closer to this year's performance than to last year's performance. He is playing with two guys. Rantanen saw Kinston top line time, Landeskog, MacKinnon. He saw power play one. He saw a bump in his ice time from last year's tire fire of the Avalanche year. He's getting used heavily in offensive zone starts, so you know the team has confidence in his scoring ability. His PDO is a bit high, but everything looks okay. It's just 100.4. So 101.4 rather. So I mean that could go down to 100, which is like where you expect everybody to be, but there's nothing outside of his 16% shooting percentage that you should really be concerned about. And then I went into his on-ice shooting percentage, which was pretty high. It takes into account like all the pucks thrown onto the net by all the players on your team. And it's about 10%. So it's on the high side of average. The league average for on-ice shooting percentage is anywhere between 7 and 10%, with like your elite Crosby and McDavid. Those lines, they shoot at like 12 to 13%. So it's not too scary to see a 10.5 on-ice shooting percentage. But yeah, with 2 full NHL seasons, his personal shooting percentage is 15.7 on average. We definitely want to see data than these 2 years. But if I had to guess, he's going to drop down a bit to earth. And you know, just the mantra here is his success goes hand in hand with MacKinnon. So we'll see.
I don't think there's any way of getting around it. I hope that they're I hope that they're good next year, and because I like the Avalanche, but also, so a player like MacKinnon, I think in general flies under the radar.
He was definitely a late round steal last year.
Exactly. So that's my thought on that whole subject. I mean, MacKinnon is your top player. He's the one going in the 3rd, 4th, 5th round.
Mikko Rantanen could be the guy that just gets forgotten about, and then boom, all of a sudden he's there in the 9th, 10th round, and you're like, shit. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that you could possibly steal him because, I mean, let's be honest, he's not a household name. Mikko Rantanen is not a household name. If you're not living in Colorado or you're not like a out and out hockey fan, most people probably don't exactly know who Mikko Rantanen is.
Yeah, he could be definitely one of next year's steals.
But I also think that in the years to come, he could be one of those players that really, not that he didn't break out already, but like makes a name for himself and is better respected and more well known throughout the league. Yeah. So I mean, this may be the last year that you can get Mikko Rantanen at a good price,
at a discount.
But beware.
Yeah, if somebody wants to take him in like the 5th or 6th round, let them do it, man.
Yeah, you're reaching at 5 or 6. Yeah, you're certainly reaching at 5 or 6.
I think,
but if he's getting down to like the 8th round and Mikko Rantanen's out there, I personally would have no problem taking him.
Yeah, he should be 5th, like maybe your 6th forward picked. Like if you spend, let's say you go 8 rounds, what I would do, let's say 9 rounds, because that like perfectly for me. I go forward, then defenseman, then forward, then defenseman, until I have like 3 studs in each, and then I just fill out wherever like best player available, and I'll throw a goalie in there. So like 9th round to me would be absolutely perfect to take Mikko Rantanen, because then at that rate you have like 4 really good forwards, 4 really good defensemen, and a goalie, and then boom, you got Rantanen. And you should be pretty solid at that rate.
You and I have very different draft ideas.
Yeah.
Just ways that we draft. And hey, it's obviously worked for both of us. You took it last year. I took it the year before that.
We both got a cup. Still waiting on my trophy in the mail.
Oh shit, that's right. I should have sent it up with Karina.
Oh, it's there or something.
Yeah, I'll send it to you. But hey, I still won a league last year too, where I beat you.
Yahoo, we didn't.
For some reason, for some, you were like, "Hey, this is a 2-week final." I was like, "Fucking no, it's not." You're like, "Oh, I got a whole fucking week to make up these points." No, sir, you do not.
And then it was just over. I logged on the next day, and it was just, you got 2nd place.
Yeah, good for you, man.
Shucks. All right, so
I mean, I draft people just differently than you do. I like to pile up on forwards.
and
because
then you get the defenseman later.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'll put a defenseman or two mixed in there, but I usually go forward heavy, and then I trade those forwards.
I think I'm gonna have to go back and listen. There was a podcast. I can't remember who it was. It was either Keegan Karlsson or one of the other guys, but they were talking about how you should, like, if all right, you're in the second round and your options are Ovechkin or Erik Karlsson. Which one would you go for? And they were saying that, like, you should maybe it's bad to give name examples, but if there's like an elite defenseman or an elite like forward, you should always go forward. So maybe your draft style is a little bit better because you're getting a surefire, like a 75-point year out of Ovechkin would be a bad year. But a 75-point year out of Erik Karlsson would be a fucking great year. And that's somebody you're picking in the second round. So always go with the guy that has the higher ceiling. You don't really see like defensemen having 100-point years or 49 goals. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you should always go. Maybe I'll alter my drafts this year a little bit. Maybe
it obviously works for you. I think you should just stick to what you're doing. Go ahead and draft fucking like Cam Talbot 4th overall, and just. Well,
I'm thinking maybe I'll go like 3rd round for a defenseman. I know douchebags like Chucky is going to be like, oh yeah, I'm getting Dustin Byfuglien right away, dude. 1st round pick. It's going to be great. It's the best.
I mean, unless you're getting like Brent Burns, who's just gonna score fucking like 80 points every year.
Yeah,
I don't know.
But even at 80 points, that's like a 3rd round forward, 2nd round forward. Those are the guys in like the Artemi Panarin, that kind of thing. I mean, if you're just stacking them up, if you take away the whole label of forward and defenseman, and you're just looking at points. Like, I know we need defensemen, I know we need forwards, but I mean, if you have like 8 really awesome forwards and then your best defenseman is like, I don't know, Seth Jones or somebody like that, and he's gonna put up like 40, maybe 45 points, but you have enough forward depth that they're carrying your team in a way that, like, I guess we're talking points leagues here.
I was just going to say, this is only in a points league that you're talking about. I mean, it's
so
a little skewed.
But I mean, you could still find forwards that are doing those peripherals that can block shots, take hits. Like Blake Wheeler, you could get in the 2nd, 3rd round instead of drafting somebody like Erik Karlsson, who Blake Wheeler can, number one, get a fuck ton of points, and then he gets like a above average amount of PIMs and an above average amount of hits. But then you can also fill out the rest of your roster with, you can stream somebody for blocks. Like Andy Green is not getting fucking drafted. You can stream him on a day that you need blocks, or like Steven Johns or somebody like that. Like, you can find blocks on the waiver wire. You don't need to draft for blocks. So maybe it is better to go for forwards and just sheer offense right away, and just make sure you're good there, because offense is one thing that's extremely hard to stream, even in categories, even in points leagues, like across the board. Offense is hard to find. Usually when you're on the waiver wire looking for offense, you're like, well, this guy's sometimes on the 2nd power play unit and plays, 3rd line minutes, and you're like, yeah, there's a chance he can score. He's playing Buffalo today.
That's when you really have to do your homework, and you're like, okay, well, this guy's projected to be on this line for this week. He's going to be playing with this player, and it's all a guessing game. I mean, we're pretty decent at it.
I'm pretty sure in these last 5 minutes we've just we should stop right here, because this could be a whole episode worth of content. Like, draft strategy could be a whole episode.
Okay, you can cut it out.
No, I'm not going to cut it out. I'm going to leave it in, because that'll create some like mystique. I'll cut this part out, but we could always do a draft strategy episode would be a really good episode. I agree. Yeah, maybe we spend like 30 to 45 minutes on points leagues, and then we do 30 to 45 minutes on category leagues, and Fantrax can suck a dick, and then the next, like the week after that, maybe we do the mock draft. Like, I could hang out with you on Google. I'll get like a Bluetooth speaker or some shit so everybody can hear you. And I'll have those fucking idiots over, and we'll just kill a case of beer or something like that.
Can do.
That'll be cool.
So where are we going next, TJ?
I believe you're gonna touch on Taylor Hall. You're gonna touch him so good.
Taylor Hall, the guy that I stole your boyfriend last year, and his name was Taylor Hall. You remember that? Taylor Hall got hurt.
And after you told me you weren't going to pick him up, and then you did
it. But hey.
Yeah, man, it's cool. I know he's your player. I'm not going to do it. Ed.
Yeah, but then you just let him sit out there. And I was like, you know what? Fuck this shit. Fuck this. I'm picking him up.
I think we were at the same hockey game too when you picked him up, and I was looking down.
No, that is not true. We were at work and I was pooping.
I'm listening.
You hear me?
Yeah, I heard. We were at work.
So we weren't at a hockey game. We were both at work. You were downstairs sweating your nuts off, and I was upstairs taking a break pooping. And that's pretty much when I get all of my fantasy hockey work done. So I picked him up while I was pooping, and that was that.
And I got mad. How long did it take me to get mad? Was it like, did I notice right away?
No.
Probably. I mean, if he was playing, then I probably noticed because he probably scored some type of point that day. I was like, wait a second, Taylor Hall is on your team? What the fuck? I could have sworn I was at a hockey game.
I don't think so, man. I know when I picked him up because I was even thinking to myself, man, TJ gonna be mad.
That's the way she goes, man. So, all right.
But also last year he didn't. I mean, he did okay last year.
Yeah.
But then this year, before this, the 13-14 season, he had an 80-point season, which was by far his highest.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden this year, 93 friggin' points. He had that huge point streak where it was like 24 games, but it was kind of split up.
Yeah.
Because
24 straight games played, but not.
Yeah, he had gotten hurt, but I think it was 21 games. Was it 20 or 21 games that he actually had a inline games played?
Yeah, I can't remember the exact number, but it was pushing like record breaking. It was up there.
And it just seemed like he was, every time that something good happened, Taylor Hall was on the ice. Yeah. And I mean, as much as I hate the Devils, I am a Taylor Hall fan. This year I thought, hey, I'll draft Nico Hischier because he was out there like late rounds. Like I drafted Nico Hischier in like the fucking like 16th round or something like that.
Always got to take a chance on the number 1 pick.
Yeah, I mean, well, what I was hoping was, hey, he's going to be playing with these good players, but it always seemed like he'd always be on the fucking ice, but he'd never get a piece of the point.
I don't know what's going on, man. You keep cutting in and out. Fuck, like more.
What if you? So, like, I see you on the big screen and me on the little screen.
Wait,
what if we say fuck the video?
All right, how do I do that? Settings. I don't think like in the middle you can do that. Maybe.
Okay. I mean, we don't really need the video.
Yeah.
We need the on-air content.
Yeah. Oh wait, yeah, you can just turn the camera off, like at the top.
We'll see if that matters.
Yeah, all right.
I'll see if I'll turn mine off too. I see it.
You were taking Nico Hischier just because he was
here. I'm oh no, I'm trying to deal with my camera access. Oh shit! What did I just do? Can you hear me still?
Yeah, you're still here.
I went to like my settings or something. I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, it's still cutting out. So when you move your cursor over the video, that thing pops up and you can just like hit turn camera on, turn camera off. Yeah. All right, you're gone.
Okay. Let's see if this helps at all.
Yeah.
So where was I? As I had said, I drafted Nico Hischier in the hopes that he would be playing with these top line guys, which all in all, he was.
All year.
Every time something good happened, it was Taylor Hall that was on the point. He was getting the goals, he was getting the assists, and Nico Hischier just didn't get any of the points. Like he had a good year. He had a great year for a freshman campaign. But Taylor Hall came out and just kicked some serious ass last year. I mean, to be totally honest,
to say the least.
His PIMs were average. He had 34 PIMs last year, but his power play points, he had 37. His previous high was 21. So, I mean, he's coming out, scored a bunch of power play points. 13 of them were goals. And so his career average for shooting percentage, which is something you and I know, I love shooting percentage because it tells me a lot about a player. His career average is 10.9. The past 3 years, he hasn't been above 10%. He was at 14% this year. And it's not like he was taking a ridiculous amount of shots.
I think he took exactly the same amount of shots as the year before.
No. So this past year, he took 278 shots. The year before that, he took 238 shots.
Yeah, I have
15, 16. He took 286. So you know what I mean, though. Like it's not like he's taking all of a sudden he's taking 320 shots.
Like, yeah, he stayed pretty steady on the shots.
Yeah, so that's something that I really do like to see, to be honest with you. It just means that you're taking better shots. Anybody can throw pucks on net and it's just going to get blocked, or it's just going to be an easy puck that the goalie can see.
Cough, cough. Jeff Skinner, cough, cough.
I don't know how many but a lot of those goals that he actually did score were tip-ins, were in front of the net in the dirty part. He was putting in rebounds, stuff like that. So it's not like he was just out at the point firing in shots.
Yeah,
he was up close. He was working hard. He was in the paint. You know what I mean?
He would always push hard towards the net. And you said, like, in the game against the Flyers, he I think he sold Brian Elliott really good, like backhand, forehand, and scooped it around him. He was always driving the net.
So, I mean, that it's definitely something that I like to see. I like Taylor Hall. I think he's a great player. I can't stand the Devils. I fucking hate them. But Taylor Hall, Kyle Palmieri, he was hurt quite a bit this year. But Taylor Hall, I mean, had a pretty healthy season. He played 76 games. He only missed a couple of games from the injury, and that was unfortunately for him right in the middle of his little point streak.
Oh, yeah.
And the other games that he sat out, especially towards the end of the year when they already knew that they were making the playoffs and all that sort of good stuff, he was a healthy scratch. So, I mean...
Just resting him.
Yeah, so, I mean, they were giving him rest at the end of the year, so those 76 games that he played, if they were in a playoff hunt, it would have been more like 79. Would have been more like, yeah, I think he had 3 healthy scratch games. So, the reason I have Hall on this regression page is similar to the reason that we just talked about in Colorado. Do you trust the New Jersey Devils.
That top line too.
Yeah, they have a good top line, but I don't know if I can really trust the Devils. Is Nico Hischier? We talked about him a little bit earlier. Is he going to have that sophomore slump, or is he going to continue to grow as a player? And one thing is a puck passer. All right, so he's setting people up with really good shots, which is something Hall will have the benefit of getting.
Yeah, that'll play to his benefit.
So I think that plays a big part in it. It's do you trust the Devils? I personally don't. They've kind of been in purgatory the past couple of years, and then all of a sudden they play really well and they're in playoff contention and all that good stuff. But if you do that 1 year, then you got to prove it the next year. So I'm going to have him on this regret until I see more out of the Devils. And he's another player where, with 93 points, he looks like a guy that you're drafting in the second or third round. But I'm not drafting new Taylor Hall in the second or third round.
Nope.
Somebody will draft this guy in the fifth round, probably.
Yeah,
it's not gonna be me. I would, but he does have that name recognition.
Yeah.
So
same thing goes for my next guy, Claude Giroux.
Now that's some name recognition, that's for sure.
Yeah. Plays second in the league in overall points. He was just behind Connor McDavid. Had 102 points this fucking year. Jesus Christ. That's his career high. Everything he did this year was his career high. 34 goals, 68 assists. Christ, man. Like his shooting percentage was 17.6, which, well, his shot production wasn't his highest all this year, but the shooting percentage, 17.6, that's way out of his wheelhouse. So I'm going to look at his last year. He was coming off a hip surgery, which is what all of us here in Philadelphia like to blame for his way crazy down year last year. Still played all 82 games, had 58 points though, 14 goals and 44 assists. Didn't even break 20 goals. He was a minus 15, had 31 power play points. Again, most of them being assists. Out of his 58 points, so 31 points out of 58, more than half are on the power play. That doesn't spell great for a 5-on-5 season. Had just under 200 shots on goal at 7% last year. Was playing 19 minutes on ice. You know, Claude Giroux always wrecks it on the faceoffs. 68 hits, 28 blocks. So he was definitely hitting a lot, but wasn't really doing the rest of the good stuff. So I feel like he knew he wasn't playing much, trying to be much more physical. This year, however, again, played all 82 games. He's always been a consistently healthy guy.
Yeah, which is nice to see.
102 points, 34 goals, career high, 68 points, career high, plus 28 career high, 9 power play goals, 27 power play assists, which rounds out to 36 power play points, 193 shots on goal. So that straight up.
He's taken less shots than he normally does.
Yep.
Shots.
His shot attempts went down by 5. He took 5 less shot attempts than he did the year before. And you go back 3-4 years, he was taking close to 500 shot attempts.
Yeah, 200 plus shots that he was taking the prior years. Hell, in 14-15, he had 279. I mean, you know what I mean? Right. So he's taken he's taken 90 less shots and has a shooting percentage that's double, you know?
And this is where I want to start to get into. This is the first year we saw Claude Giroux on the wing. Number one, the 17.6 shooting percentage jumps right off the page, and it's way above his career average, easily doubling last year, while he took 6 less shots this year. So a career high in on-ice shooting percentage suggests that we can definitely expect regression coming Giroux's way. Is he still a point per game candidate? Yeah, I think so. But is he going to break 100 points next year? No, I don't think so. So as I said before, it was the first year he played as a winger that we got to see. So maybe this production is repeatable, but all the data like here on paper says he's going to drop down next year. Don't get me wrong. I would love it if we had the second highest scoring player in the NHL every year, but I don't think it's going to happen again. I've watched Claude Giroux for a while. He's not a 34 goals. I mean, he was this year, but he's not a goal scorer. He's an assist guy, and I think just everything went perfectly for him this year. He was great, absolutely great. But I don't think he's going to be chasing down Connor McDavid next year for second, possibly first in the league. I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, but I will say that I do love around. Okay, if you keep on doing the same fucking thing and you're expecting different results, then
definition of insanity.
Yeah. So finally, he moves stuff around. For years, we've been loving on Sean Couturier, saying that this guy needs more of a chance. Finally, they put him up on the first line center spot, and he kills it.
Absolutely.
All right, he is what they needed. It seemed like they were okay. I'll put it this way: they were too soft on the for their first line. Their first line was too soft. Voracek is a big guy, but he's a finesse guy.
Yeah.
Just because he's big doesn't mean that he's a bruiser. All right, he is a finesse player. Claude
he's strong.
Giroux,
he can keep you off the puck, but he's not.
I'm not saying he can't, but I mean he's not going out there and laying the pipe, dude.
Yeah.
You know, and certainly Claude Giroux isn't either. On top of the fact that okay, so now you throw Couturier out there, he changes the dynamic of that top line. With also having the young defenseman behind you, they played a much more open game this year.
Yeah, it wasn't like dump and chase every time.
Exactly. It wasn't dump and chase. They were bringing the puck into the zone, which is what I like to see. Now, sometimes you have to dump and chase because it's what it calls for. If you're playing a team that you feel like you can beat on speed, you play a little more dump and chase than you usually would. But when you have the ability to carry the puck in,
he's got this. You can win puck battles and puck races like that. Then you can dump and chase. But if you got somebody like Ivan Provorov out there, Shane Gostisbehere, two guys really good at his own, like you cross the blue line and then you get set up, and that's how you do it.
And it all starts with the outlet passes out of the defense. So I mean, now the Flyers finally have those defensemen that can handle the puck well and aren't just trying to fly the puck out of there and just, I need to get rid of this. This is fucking fire on my stick. I need to get this out. No,
I've only been out here for 20 seconds, but it's time for a line change.
Yeah, it's like they're actually moving the puck and being smart about it. So I mean, it was the whole dynamic of the team that honestly changed. And I know you didn't like the Hackstall hire when he first started, especially last.
I will definitely give him some credit. He had the balls to put Giroux on the wing. He had the balls to move Konechny up to the top line. He has definitely made some good moves. And I listen to the guys over at Broad Street Hockey, guys and girls. Two girls. People think there's only one girl. That's different thing. But those guys say that all right, so what we've seen out of Dave Hackstall is he's had a shitty team for long enough. You know, people like Boyd Gordon and fucking Andrew McDonald, and last year you had like I forget the fuck who else. But anyway, you finally have Dave Hackstall with a team who should be good. So this year, like if we set him up for success, if we do something in the offseason that like without fail, like you should win, or you should at least like win around in the playoffs, and he doesn't do it, then he's done. But like you can't expect a guy with a shitty team like Valtteri Filppula and fucking Jori Lehtera on your third and fourth lines to be able to win you a Stanley Cup. But now that he has a good team, like you got to be able to see what he can do with a good team. And I think he's there.
Filppula was playing way too much. I'll say that much. I will also pat myself on the back when it comes to Travis Konechny, because I don't know if you remember all the way back from last year when everybody was like, oh, well, Provorov is definitely going to make the team. And I said, yeah, well, I want this Konechny kid on the team too. And we kind of both thought that they're just going to give him the 10 days at the beginning, then they're going to send him back down. And they kept him up. And I was like, that's going to be a good decision. And he is panning out. I'm happy to see that. But also, like we were talking about, he's another finesse player.
Yeah. But he's got that shoot first type of thing that we need. So I like it.
Well, he has a shoot first thing, but he has I'm going to skate around with this puck for 15 seconds and then I'm going to shoot it kind of thing too.
So maybe it's shoot passing. Just it's a shoot only mentality.
All right. What do you think about this? I do like Travis Konechny, but I think that Giroux is going to have a little bit of a regression just because, 102 points is really hard to sustain.
Yeah.
Do I think that if they stick with a line like this, that he can be a perennial 80-plus point player?
He could definitely break into the top 10 in scoring again.
He is okay. Am I drafting him in the first round?
Nope.
No. Am I drafting him in the second or third round? Yeah, I could see that. I could.
Really?
Yeah.
21-year-old Claude Giroux is going to be third round material. I'll take him in the fourth as a reach, fifth comfortable, sixth steal.
Oh my God. If you get Claude Giroux in the sixth fucking round in any league, can I be in your league?
That's a steal, like I said. Like fourth, I could see all right, like three players that are surefire wins ahead of Giroux. Like you could get first round picks are your Connor McDavid, and you still got to think some leagues value goalies super high. So I don't know. I'm thinking Giroux is probably a fourth round pick for me. That's where I'm aiming for him. I don't think
that he's a reach though in the fourth round.
You don't think it's a reach?
No, I don't. He does play in the left wing. So as far as Yahoo, that doesn't really help his situation because there are a lot of good left wingers out there.
Yeah, stacked.
So in a Yahoo league, it would be a little different. Don't get it twisted. But yeah, in a points league, I'd be happy to get him in the fourth round. I don't think I'm reaching on the fourth round. If he's one of my top four, forwards, which usually, like I said, I draft heavy on forwards to start out the rounds, just because I know that I can move those forwards because everybody wants them.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. But in the sixth round, if I'm getting fucking Claude Giroux in the sixth round, holy shit, am I happy about it? I feel like I just got one over on y'all motherfuckers if I get someone like Claude Giroux in the sixth round.
Desi's home. I hear him yelling upstairs.
Hey, so I think I'm gonna run down and I'm gonna have a smoke. I'm gonna make myself a podcast sandwich.
Okay. Podcast tray.
And I'm gonna get myself something to drink.
Cool, man. I'll catch you back here in
so yeah, give me a couple of minutes and we will be back.
Cool. You there? Damn, now I'm hungry.
You back?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. I'm going with Spyburn 10-year single malt whiskey or a single malt scotch.
Very good.
Going with scotch, huh? Hey,
the lack of videos in I don't know what's going on, but every once in a while it'll like cut out.
Yeah,
even
I still
without
notice that.
Oh, maybe the recording will be smoother because sometimes I won't even notice it, and then I'll go to the recording and it'll be all screwed up.
Is that gonna? So what's gonna happen with like editing? Like, are you gonna be able to hear that?
That's where I'm just like, hey, I can't hear you. Sorry, you have to start over. I just cut that shit out.
Okay, whatever we gotta do.
All right, so we just hit Claude Giroux. I have Dustin Brown next on my list. I don't know what your list is next. Who you have next?
Let's get into oh no.
What the fuck was that?
Oh no.
That sounded awful.
My sandwich. Give me a second. I'm sitting on like my on my fishing chair. You know how it has that little table?
Oh shit.
I didn't have the table locked, I guess.
Is the sandwich okay?
The sandwich seems okay.
Good.
I'm hungry enough. I don't really care.
Yeah, it's just dog hair.
All right. I think we're good. Yeah. Next, I have Anders Lee, Matt Barzal.
Okay.
So let's go with them. Let me pull up my which one do you want to take?
Do whichever one you don't do. Got Anders Lee right here. I can get Matt Barzal up on the same screen here.
I know you mentioned Matt Barzal earlier. Let's just make sure when we talk about him, we we say about how pretty much like he was a rookie. He had a great season, but the main thing I want to focus on is the whole John Tavares thing, and that's what I mean, personally, I think that's really what I think it all
it seemed like he could carry his own because he was playing on a separate line outside of power play. He was playing 5-on-5. He didn't really see much time with John Tavares. So those 85 points in 82 games.
Where I put that on is okay, so if John Tavares isn't on your team, that means everybody is going to be there's going to be much more focus on you.
Yeah, you know do you think Matt Barzal is going to be the number one center in that case?
I would think so.
Yeah. I mean, Anders Lee is a center too.
So all of a sudden, I mean, I think Matt Barzal is going to be, if John Tavares isn't on that team next year, I think Matt Barzal is going to be on the first line. Unless they do a whole kind of thing like they have in Pittsburgh, but I don't know if they have I don't know if they really have the talent to do that, to have two first lines, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they don't have the wing depth.
But yeah, I mean, all of a sudden more people are scouting for you. All right. All the tape is going to be on you, not on John Tavares. So, I mean, they're really going to be coming down on him. They're going to be hitting him a lot more, stuff like that. So,
all right.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So, next up, I want to move up to New York. Not the Rangers because, well, they suck. And nobody on their team had a good enough season to regress.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna go to the Islanders. The Islanders are not exactly great either, but they do have some standout players. No, John Tavares is not on this list.
Oh, man, I'm losing you. Losing you.
You hear me?
Yeah, you're back.
The Islanders have some standout players. And no, John Tavares is not on this list because John Tavares is a god.
He's a demigod. At the very least.
I don't know where he's going to go. I hope he fucking stays with the New York motherfucking Islanders.
I mean, you got Lou Lamoriello now, so I mean, the chances are he's going to stay. Lou Lamoriello, he's another god amongst men.
So I don't have Tavares on this list because honestly, well, let's just say, I mean, John Tavares really is a fantastic player. He is somebody who I have a lot of respect for. I mean, he's done really well for himself on crap ass teams. Now, it is the other players on the Islanders that I really want to take a better look at. We're going to start with Anders Lee, and then we're going to move into Matt Barzal. Anders Lee had, for his standards, a great year. He had his highest point total ever at 62. He had 40 goals. 40 goals. 22 assists. I mean, it's not often where somebody has that many more goals than they do assists. So, I mean, that tells me something immediately. His PIMs were right on par. His power play points did shoot up a lot. He had 22 power play points. His previous high was 14. He had 14 power play goals, which, like we were just saying, matches his previous high on points for power play in a whole season. Mm-hmm. He is a pretty healthy player. I'll give that to Anders Lee. He played all 82 games this year. Last year, 81. The year before that, 80. So, I mean, he is available, which obviously everybody likes. If I want somebody on my team, I want somebody who's going to be available. Mm-hmm. I would like to see him shoot more. Last year, he had his highest shot total ever at 208. All right. I would like to see this guy shooting more. 208 shots isn't enough as far as I'm concerned. It's the first time that he is actually had more than 200 shots. It's the first time in his career he's above 50% on faceoffs. He is at 68 3/4 for faceoffs, which is pretty damn good.
He only took 16 faceoffs, though.
Oh, I don't have that. We'll cut that part out.
Yeah, he won 11 faceoffs and he lost 5.
I thought he had more than that. Yeah. Okay, cut that part out. Okay, yep. So going along with this whole shot and shot percentage thing that we've been really pushing towards, this past year, he had 19.2% for shot percentage. Now, his career shot percentage is pretty damn good. His career shot percentage, after being into the league in 2012, is 14.6. That's pretty damn good. All right, I'm a fan of that shot percentage, but at 19.2. He could stand to lose a little bit of regression.
Yeah, that's 1 in 5 shots going in.
Yeah. So TJ and I had talked about this a little before, and this is also going to come to light with Matt Barzal. Where is John Tavares going to go, TJ? Because shit, I don't know. One thing I do know is John Tavares isn't exactly a happy man. He doesn't.
I know he likes the area. He likes the area, but I mean, who doesn't like money?
And everybody he also wants to be on a winner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He wants to go somewhere that matters, and let's just say it. I don't see the Islanders contending for a cup this year, next year. Like, if they do, then that's great for them. But I just don't see it. They don't have the goalie for it. They don't have the defense for it. They have a pretty good offense. They can score goals. It's not like they can't. But there's many more phases to this game than just scoring goals. So, if John Tavares isn't on that team, obviously, somebody has to step up. So, I mean, there will be more shots to be had. There will be all of that stuff. So, I mean, somebody's going to have to score the goals. Somebody's going to have to get the assists. But on the same note, if John Tavares isn't on your team, people are looking at you a lot harder.
Yeah. Focus comes like way off Tavares, and it goes on to everybody else.
Yeah. So is somebody like Josh Bailey gonna be able to fly under the radar like he has been? Josh Bailey has done well for himself playing with John Tavares, but when John Tavares isn't on the ice, is Josh Bailey going to have that same sort of connectivity with whoever else he's playing with? I don't know about that.
Did you switch from Anders Lee to Josh Bailey?
No, he's just somebody else that kind of.
Okay. All right.
He's just somebody else that kind of plays a role in that whole scheme. All these people that have been suckling at the teat of John Tavares, and living off of his coattails.
That sounds really hot.
So, I mean, it's all of them. It's Lee, it's Bailey, it's Barzal. When he's gone, you're gonna watch tape on somebody. You're gonna hone in on somebody, and maybe it's that new young player who kicked ass this year. I mean, Matt Barzal had a great season.
Over a point per game player in his rookie year.
And that's fantastic.
And wild.
So TJ had said earlier about Barzal kind of held that you think that he could hold his own because he was on his own line.
Yeah, 5-on-5. He wasn't playing with Tavares, but on the power play, he did only have he had 22 power play assists. So a lot of that probably came from Tavares or just Tavares being on that same line. Like, there's no getting around it. Like, John Tavares on your team, everybody that you play with or that is playing with John Tavares, their numbers are going to be better. So if you lose Tavares, how many points is Barzal going to lose? And that probably shows most prevalent in his power play because he was rocking that line on his own with I know he's playing with Beauvillier for a while, and I forget the third piece on that line because I know it was Anders Lee, John Tavares, and Josh Bailey, and then I think it was Beauvillier, Barzal. I can't think of the third person there.
Nelson.
Was it Brock Nelson?
It wasn't.
I don't know. It could have been.
For some reason, that's sticking out in my mind. I might be wrong, but for some reason, that's sticking out in my mind.
Look it up. Daily face-off.
I haven't looked it up. I just
line combos. Islanders. Hopefully they still have this shit. Anders Lee, John Tavares, Josh Bailey, Andrew Ladd, Matthew Barzal, Jordan Eberle. That's right. Fucking Eberle.
Good old Jordan Eberle.
Eberle. Jesus, their third line or their fourth line sucks, dude. Cal Clutterbuck is the best player on your line. Jesus. Fuck. That sucks.
It sounds like a fourth line to me.
Oh my God. All right. So are guys like Jordan Eberle going to see a hit? If Tavares goes, then do you think Matt Barzal is your number one center? and maybe his production goes up just because he is seeing more time, seeing higher deployment, stuff like that. But then again, you got the other side of the sword that says you're going up against better other teams' first lines, other teams' top pairings and stuff like that. So we're gonna have to wait and see.
It's just that I know this. Okay, so if I am an NHL head coach, if I'm an NHL player, and this star rookie comes out and he doesn't have the security blanket of another player on your team like John Tavares, you know what I'm doing? I'm going after that fucking kid.
Yeah.
I just am. I mean, maybe it's bad to say, but I'm going after that kid. I'm going to make him score against me. I'm not going to give him all the little, how do I want to say it? I'm not going to give him open ice. I'm going to be touching him all the time. I'm going to have my hands on him. I'm going to have my stick on him. I'm not going to give him any chance to breathe. All right. How is Matt Barzal going to, yeah.
How's he going to adjust to that?
Yeah. So that's really what I bring this down to. Do I think that Matt Barzal is a great young player? Can he be productive? Yes, I think so. Is Anders Lee a veteran now who can hold his own in the league? Yes, I think that. But it's how do you respond when you don't have your star player anymore and all of a sudden you are thrust into the limelight and people are on top of you?
There's nothing on Matt Barzal's stat sheet that says this is not something that can be repeated. Everything, all his advanced stats, stuff like that, everything says like this is who we're looking at as a player. He could be a point per game player. But I mean, there is that caveat that like if Tavares isn't there, then everything changes. Everything we could say right now is going to be completely thrown out the window. And that goes double for Anders Lee. Is he's playing directly, his fate is directly intertwined with John Tavares. And if you're playing with somebody like Matt Barzal, that's a step back, but it's not a huge step back. But I mean, he's not John Tavares. He doesn't have the face-off wins, even close to something Tavares is putting up. His defensive play is nowhere near Tavares's standard. So this is something we're going to have to touch on later in the year after the draft. See if he gets traded, signed somewhere else. My gut tells me he's going to be back on Long Island, but you never know. He could wind up in Montreal. He could wind up in San Jose. You really don't know at this point.
And it comes down to that for draft status too. Yeah. I'm not really looking at anybody on the Islanders if it's not John Tavares. And if I do draft anybody else from the Islanders, I'm only doing it if John Tavares is on the team and they're playing with him. I mean, Matt Barzal.
Yeah, who is Josh Bailey without fucking Tavares? Like Josh Bailey with Tavares is easily like one of your like middle to above average guys, but then without him, that's not going to be great. It was almost like it was Tarasenko and Shen, like they were great together. But then when they were on their own, they were just, well, Shen especially, he was just kind of like average. So as I was saying with Matt Barzal, like nothing on his stat sheet says he's going to regress. But it's just whether or not it's sustainable. Was this a guy that nobody had a book on, and then next year they're going to know how to play this kid, and he's going to see a drop from 85, which is really nothing. That's not like out of the ordinary. Like 85 points in your first year. That the direction I'm looking is down. So he could be a 65, 70 point player next year. And that's just the way it goes, is like you break out and nobody's even heard your name before. And that's how you sneak around everybody. Nobody knows how to play you. And then next year they learn, and then your totals, they take a hit because of it. But with Anders Lee, that almost 20% shooting percentage, that is something that needs to drop down. And just looking at stats and logic in general, like even if Tavares is on the team next year, that's something we can still see to regress next year is, 1 in 5 shots going in the back of the net, 40 goals. That doesn't seem repeatable. He could do it. I mean, if he shoots a hell of a lot more, but I don't know, man. Like those shooting percentages, anything above 15, like it starts to get really scary.
Okay, so I mean, I think those are all good reasons. I mean, and that's why I have them on there.
I just got some breaking news here. Just got some breaking news. Mike Hoffman, this is coming from Bob McKenzie. Bob McKenzie retweeted this. I'm not sure from who. Mike Hoffman's longtime girlfriend allegedly behind campaign of harassment against Melinda and Erik Karlsson. So there's a little bit of internal struggle going on up in Ottawa.
Wow.
So Mike Hoffman and Erik Karlsson are maybe not getting along, especially their girlfriends, and one case a wife. That's kind of crazy.
All right, so
yeah, so one of them is out of there. Hopefully, it's Mike Hoffman to Philly.
I'd be fine with that.
Yeah, we could use some scoring wingers outside.
Okay, so moving on to somewhere nice and warm. I got up a little bit. How about we run down to LA?
Yeah, I got Dustin Brown, who broke out like it wasn't so much. It wasn't like a huge breakout. He went from 36 points to 61 points. That's a huge breakout. Don't get me wrong, but like 61 points is not elite by anybody's standards. But for Dustin Brown, the biggest factor here is the almost 4-minute jump of time on ice from 16-17 to 17-18. He saw 25% more time on ice and saw a 60% uptick in offensive production. So to go with his 5% jump in shooting percentage, it starts to make sense how he had his first over 40-point season in 6 years. His total shot attempts went up by 40, but what's good to see is the progress that 54% of his shots last year hit the net, and that this year that increased to 60%. So his aim is getting better by at least 6.
I lost you. I lost you there. TJ, you there? TJ. TJ, you there? You back?
Hey man, I'm back.
All right.
So what was
do you want to start over, Dustin Brown?
Just completely.
I lost you pretty close to the beginning.
Okay, so we are going to talk a little.
Do you know where you got cut off?
No, so I'll just start completely over. So we'll take a trip out to LA right now, and Dustin Brown, who was kind of a pleasant surprise for anybody that picked him up or whatever, because his year last year wasn't exactly draft worthy, unless you're in like a really hits heavy league or you were drafting him for that. In 16-17, he played 80 games. He had 14 goals, 22 assists for 36 points all day, -4, 22 PIMs, had 3 power play points. Not great. 175 shots on goal, 16 minutes time on ice, 190 hits, which is what, if you were drafting Dustin Brown, that's why you're drafting Dustin Brown.
I'm not
and 31 blocks
for hits, but
so the biggest factor here is the almost 4-minute jump of time on ice from last year. Well, from 2 years ago to last year. I guess we're going to start calling the 17, 18, that'll be last year from now on. He saw 25% more time on ice this year, and he saw a 60% uptick in offensive production. That's to go along with his 5% jump in shooting percentage. So it's starting to make sense how he had his first over 40-point season in 6 years. His total shot attempts went up by 40, but what's good to see is the progress from 54% of his shots last year were counted as shots on goal to 60%. So his aim's getting a little bit better. He had 326 attempts in 16-17, and 175 were logged as shots on goal. And this year he had 368. So that did go up to by 40, and 222 were counted as shots on goal. So he is getting 6% more accurate. But I still don't see a 34-year-old Dustin Brown getting another 60-point year anytime soon. His line mates in Kopitar, and I think it was like Alex Iafallo for a little bit, and eventually it wound up being Jeff Carter, or was Jeff Carter the second line center? I think Jeff Carter was the second.
When he came back, he was on the second.
Remember,
he was out for a long time.
Yeah, I'll just start that sentence completely over. Still, I don't see a 34-year-old Dustin Brown getting another 60-point year anytime soon. His line mate, Anze Kopitar, did have a bounce-back year too, and I think Brown benefited like a great deal from that. So if Kopi does it again and Brown is playing with him, then he could have another like really well-rounded fantasy year. But like I said, Dustin Brown had a really wild, I think it was an anomaly. I don't see this happening again for him. His shooting percentage this year was 12.6. His average over his career is 9.5. So I don't know, that to be paired with his almost four minutes of more time on ice. And I don't know, Dustin Brown, he had a really good year. For anybody that had him this year, the PIMs were great. They were almost they were more than double what they were last 2 years ago. The hits were like right on par with what you expect from Dustin Brown, right around 190. So he's a very physical player, and even threw in some offense this year. But like I was saying, like his first over 40-point season in 6 years, and he blasts past 60. I don't see it happening again. He's probably going to go back to being that 40-point guy that we know. I would say no one love, but he's the guy we know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really a big Dustin Brown fan, but I will say you brought me into a perfect segue to start talking about Anze Kopitar.
To talk about who?
Anze Kopitar.
Oh, yeah. Perfect.
So I don't think anybody in the league would say that Anze Kopitar is not a great player. He's the captain for the Kings. He has held them down on many runs to win the cup. And it seems like in the past 10 years, they're always a favorite to make the playoffs, get to the cup finals. And with a goalie like Quick, you can really lean on something like that a lot. However, Anze Kopitar himself has really kind of had an up and down career, to say the least. So there's only been one other year, and that was all the way back in 2009, 2010, when he had over 80 points. This past season, he had 92. Now, last year, as I recall, we actually did have him on our bounce back episode as a bounce back. So, TJ, you were right. I'll give you that.
Just pat myself on the back real quick.
You were right about the bounce back for Anze Kopitar, and I agreed with you. But 2 out of the past 3 seasons, he's had sub 65, or actually 3 out of the past 6 years, he's had sub 65-point seasons. So it's kind of like this roller coaster up and down. And it almost seems like every other year he'll have sub 65. Then the next year he'll have above 65. So it's like he'll have a good year, a bad year, a good year, a bad year. I mean, I'm just reading the numbers here, and I can say that that's telling me that next season he's going to be below 65 points.
Well, did 2 points was in 47 games. That was the lockout year. So he was pushing close to a point per game. At that, it was 76, 73, 81. So I think 65 is pretty safe, like where he should be, and he probably will be next year, like 65 to 75 point on the high side. So I think that's probably a safe bet.
And what do you think about his 17.5% shooting percentage?
I mean, that's a career high.
What do you think of that?
I think it's not sustainable, like, to say the least. So he took 200 shots, scored 35 goals. That's fucking crazy. I mean, his numbers are like really even in shots, 350 shot attempts, 35 goals, just a lot of really nice, even divisible by 5 numbers here. Sorry, that's just me like being OCD, like makes my OCD a little happy right there. He's great on faceoffs. Like a really good,
but he's always been good at faceoffs. He's always been a career above 50% faceoff guy. He wasn't super above his average. I mean, he was 54% this year. But all I'm saying is, at 92 points, where it is your career high, I don't know if I see that happening again.
No,
the Kings are not. The Kings are not getting any younger, TJ.
It's almost like we could copy and paste exactly what we said about Claude Giroux, minus the switch to wing, and just talk about Anze Kopitar the same way. He's going to be 31. You don't see a 31-year-old pushing 100 points, especially when their shooting percentage is more than double the year it was before. Give it. What? Hello?
Yeah. You hear me?
That was weird. I just heard a weird thing in my phone.
Yeah,
my earphone. So he had a double his career, or not career, but he doubled his shooting percentage from last year. His career high before that was 15.9, and that was in his second year when he got 77 points. So I think it'd be safe to say on the high end he get 80 points next year, but safely 65 to 75 points that's exactly where I'm going to put him next year, in like a 70-point range, give or take 5 points.
But let's just, the way I see it as well is the bottom is going to drop out on the LA Kings at some point in time. This league is a cyclical league. I mentioned before about Jonathan Quick, and he's gonna be your rock. You can always trust him, but he's a feast or famine kind of guy too. He had a ton of shutouts this year, but at what point do you stop trusting the Kings? Like I said just a couple of minutes ago, they're not getting any younger. I mean, Trevor Lewis is getting up there. Dustin Brown's getting up there. Anze Kopitar has been in the league for, 12 seasons now?
Yeah, who are your young guys? They're like Adrian Kempe, Alex Iafallo, Jake Muzzin, and Alec Martinez, maybe. Like, that's going to be your core in 5 years.
If that's the case, I mean, I'm not really looking forward to the Kings in 5 years.
Yeah, their window is quickly
I think their window has passed, or is closing and closing very quickly. So, I mean, if they're going to make another run at this, Kopitar is going to have to not have this slumping season like I am expecting him to have. So last year, I put the bet on that the Kings were going to do much better this year, and they did. And I would go as far as to make the opposite of that bet for next year. I don't see the Kings repeating what they did this past year, and everybody was surprised about it. Maybe not everybody, but I know a lot of people in the league were, just because they haven't been showing a lot. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Kopitar is doing all this, and Iafallo is coming out of his own, and Jonathan Quick is playing like the Jonathan Quick of old. But at some point,
good year.
At some point in time, I mean, it's all going to end. I have a feeling it's going to regress to the tune of probably 20 points. I don't see him breaking 92. I don't really see him breaking 80. I can see him being 65, 70.
Yeah. I think that's a safe place to put him. And kind of just plateau and coast out that way.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, that's not a bad thing, but
yeah,
it's certainly going to be less than 92. So
I think so too.
We can move on. Other than that, who do you got next, my brother?
Teravainen next.
Teravainen.
Yeah, Teuvo Teravainen. Center, kind of a small guy, 5'11", 178, 23 years old, just entering his prime. Another first-round pick, so that's pretty much like I don't think we have any second-round picks here. Maybe William Karlsson when we get there. But let's look at the 16-17 year. He had 81 games played. He had 15 goals, 27 assists for 42 points all year. Had 15 points on the power play, 5 goals, 10 assists. Was playing 16-14 average time on ice with 169 shots on goal at right around 9%. He's never been one for like hits or blocks, both under 35. But this year, in his second season with the Hurricanes, he had 64 points, 23 goals, 41 assists, 20 points on the power play, 5 goals, 15 assists, 185 shots on goal. So that did see like a 16 shot uptick. His total shot attempts went up by 54. He was shooting at 12.4% this year. His time on ice went up about 40 seconds a game. Teravainen really broke out in his second year with the Canes. Maybe it's him finally feeling comfortable and taking way more shots that led to his offensive breakout. He spent almost a minute more on ice per game this year than last, and he's being widely used in offensive zone situations. Almost 70% of his starts are in the offensive zone. His PDO is like spot on 100%. His on-ice shooting percentage and on what is it? Oh, never mind. I'm going to skip that part completely. The only worrisome factor here is his jump to 12.4 shooting percentage from his career average of almost 10. So it's not too big a jump, like that 2.5%.
That isn't sustainable.
But we could see like a small amount of aggression, maybe 1 or 2 goals short next year. But I truly think this is the player we're going to see of Teuvo Teravainen this year. Consistent. It seems like he's going to be a consistent 50 to 60 point guy going forward. I think he's going to be a good option to kind of round out the bottom part of your roster next year. That's all I really got to say about this guy. I think this was his breakout. I don't think there's going to be a little bit of regression, but I don't think it's going to be a drop off a cliff. So going from 64 points, I could see him struggling to break 50 or struggling to break 60 with hitting that 55-point marker easily. So if I'm going to guess, I'm going to take 57 points next year for Teuvo Teravainen. 57 on the dot.
That's all I got under.
On him. You take the under? Okay.
I know there's a lot of people down here that were really disappointed with his play this past year.
Really?
Yeah. I think it's because he showed so much promise that they were expecting a little more, and I think they were just a little disappointed with everybody. And it seems like the world down here is in love with Sebastian Aho, and if you're not Sebastian Aho, then you're trade bait. So
yeah, I could see him getting traded, and I think it could be beneficial for him. But I think
it would be beneficial for him. I think it would be beneficial for a lot of these guys if they would go to a new team and be in a new system. But
yeah, Justin Falk has got to get the fuck out.
Okay.
Apparently, Chicago's pretty interested in Falk.
Oh, geez, I don't know if that would be good for him then. Okay, so I want to move to our Stanley Cup finalists.
Are you
the winners of the Stanley? What's that?
Are you
there?
Yeah, I'm here. You doing okay. William Karlsson?
Our last two are John Carlson and William Karlsson.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, yeah. I have Sean Couturier and William Karlsson left, and that's it.
Okay, why don't you do Sean Couturier? Cut that last part out. Do Sean Couturier.
Yeah. It seems like William Karlsson is kind of like our
So that way we can finish off with John Carlson and William Karlsson.
Oh, the Karlsson's perfect.
I thought those were our last two left.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense. All right, so
go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just gonna jump right into Sean Couturier. I guess maybe I should have done this one right after Claude Giroux, but fuck it. Sean Couturier.
Yeah, thanks for nothing, TJ. You know what? Just because of that, I'm gonna take a nice, good old sip of this scotch.
Well, if I'm the reason for your drinking, I'm proud of that.
Down into my.
So you got Sean Couturier, 6'3", 211 pounds. He's 25 years old. He went 8th overall in 2011. So this is kind of the big one for me. Last year, I keep saying last year, like 16-17 year, but I got to get used to that. So 2 years ago in 16-17, he played 66 games, had 34 points all day with 14 goals, 20 assists. He was a plus 12. He had 2 points on the power play. Both of them were assists. 120 shots on goal at 11.7% on 195 total shot attempts. He played about 18 and a half minutes on ice per game. His faceoffs were 55%, had 41 hits and 35 blocks. So he was playing like a second, third line center. This year, as a first line center, he played all 82 games, had 31 goals, 45 assists for 76 points all day, was a plus 30-4, and had 14 points on the power play. He did see a little bit of power play one time, but most of his time was spent on power play 2. 227 shots on goal at 13.7% and 377 total shot attempts. So you could say this dude in his role as a first line center fucking shot the puck like a lot. He almost doubled his total shot attempts, almost doubled his total shots on goal. He was playing over 3 minutes more on ice. His faceoff stayed about the same, took a little hit to 52.8%, and put on an extra 33 hits and like a handful of blocks. So what a year for fucking Couturier, man. He almost doubled. Shit, man, my math is so fucked right now. 34 points times 2 is what, 68? Yeah. So
Fact. Well done,
he doubled his career high in points. He was up for the Selke Trophy. Still is up for the Selke Trophy. We haven't figured out who won it yet. Just an all-around breakout for this guy. He was promoted to the top line.
Win the Selke Trophy.
It's the Patrice Bergeron Trophy.
Yeah, it's the same guy who wins it every year. However, don't get me. Sean Couturier is easily one of the top 3 best two-way forwards in the fucking game.
So it was him, and
that's not just us being a homer. He is one of the top defensive fucking
I would put
players.
Barkov in the same conversation. Kopitar was up there for that conversation, and I can't really think of who else. But so Couturier was promoted to the top line. He was centering Giroux and sometimes Raffles, sometimes Konechny. He saw an uptick in pretty much anything that could factor into a breakout. He had better line mates, better deployment. He saw some power play 1 usage. Everything that could have went right did. His career shooting percentage is 3% off this year's production at 13.7, but it's only a small bump from last year's 11.7%. I think Coots cannot necessarily repeat this year, but he's going to come close. He's hard to play against. He's defensively sound. He's strong on the puck and on the boards, and shot 150 more attempts than he did in the last year. That's almost double. That's only 13 shot attempts shy of double, to be exact. So I think with his newfound shoot first mentality and responsible hockey sense, that it'd be safe to assume that in this top line role, a 60 to 65 point season next year is well within grasp. I think I almost want to say he's got a 60-point floor going forward, but the same that was said for Giroux can be said here. We only have 1 season of data on Couturier as a first-line center and his new deployment. So it's really just speculation, but I think that I really think that he can do this again. Coots is like a really, really good player, two-way all around, just entering his prime. And what a more perfect time to have him as a first-line center than right now. So I think going forward, we're going to see maybe 10 less points than we did this year. But I still think he's going to be an excellent option for you guys next year going forward.
All right.
That's all I got on.
Well done. Hey, so all right, so to finish off here, let's move to the Stanley Cup Finals.
Yeah, 2 Karlssons from each team, or 1 Karlsson from each team.
Yeah, we'll do a Karlsson and a Karlsson. It sounds like a fucking sitcom on Fox. Karlsson and Karlssons. You know what I mean? Like, okay, so I'll take John. I'll take John Karlsson because I'll talk some truth on the fucking Capitals. The truth for the Capitals is you're going to lose John fucking Karlsson. You won the cup this year. Congratulations. Seriously. Congratulations to Washington, D.C. They deserved it. They win the President's Trophy every year, and then they fucking choke. Good for you. You've been dealing with the bullshit for too many years. I'm glad you guys got one. That being said, John Karlsson is going to get paid. This motherfucker is going to make some money.
Yeah, at least 8.
And it always seems to happen that the year before you are about to be an unrestricted free agent, like John Karlsson is,
you play out of your fucking mind.
You play out of your fucking mind. So, John Karlsson had just career highs all fucking over the place. Career high on points, 68 points. Career high on goals, 15 goals. Career high on assists, 53 assists. He had his second best year for PIMS. He had 30 plus PIMS. He had 32 PIMS, which is pretty fucking decent. He had 32 power play points. He got and that was one good thing. He actually got a lot of power play time this year, and their power play was just fucking nasty.
Oh yeah.
It was. I'll give it to them. Their power play was fucking nasty this year. He did a lot of shooting this year too.
He blew his previous career high out of the water.
Yeah, he had 237 shots this year, which beat his previous high by 29 shots. So almost 30 shots. He took more than his previous high, and 60 more shots than he took last season.
Yeah.
With the whole fact that his shoot, and one thing may give you some sort of ability to sleep on this whole thing, is the fact that his shooting percentage is not out of this world.
Yeah, it stayed pretty much on even keel with the rest of his career.
On par. His career average is 5.7. Last year, he was 6.3. For a defenseman, that ain't not bad.
Yeah, he took a shit ton of shot attempts, like career high shot attempts, career high time on ice,
and made it work for him. On top of the fact that in the playoffs, especially in the Stanley Cup Finals, he did. I'll give it to the guy. He did great in the Stanley Cup Finals. He was
really big impact.
Considering I was rooting for Vegas. He made a well. It's true. I was rooting for Vegas, but I mean, in the finals, he had 2 goals and 2 assists. Yeah. So I mean, that's a fucking defenseman that had 2 goals and 2 assists. Now they were scoring a lot, but still, I don't care. He had a hell of a season. But what happens when you sign a big contract? We've gone over this before. You get Kevin Shattenkirk syndrome. It's a disease. It's called Kevin Shattenkirk syndrome. It's where you do really well. You're an unrestricted free agent. You sign a big fucking deal. A BFD.
You come back down to earth.
A BFD. Do you like that one?
Yeah, I like that one.
So you sign a big fucking deal, and then you sit back and you collect your fucking paychecks.
Yeah.
And you do a lot less scoring of the goal variety, because I'm sure he'll be scoring off the ice just fine.
Oh, yeah.
Even though his forehead looks like a fucking drive-in movie theater.
Oh my God, yeah.
It's just the way it is. We've talked about this too much in every sport.
John Carlson looks like the hillbilly at the beginning of Men in Black 1. The alien wearing the skin. You know what I'm talking about?
He got a brand new Edgar suit.
Is that what? Yeah, the Edgar. That's right.
Edgar.
Oh, poor guy.
John Carlson is. I'm going to preface this though by saying John Carlson is a great defenseman.
I'm losing you.
Do you hear me?
Losing you. So
you hear me?
Yeah, John Carlson is a great defenseman.
I'm going to start that over. Okay, so I'm going to preface this by saying John Carlson is a great defenseman. He really is. Does he have the ability to keep this up, especially if he gets traded to a good team? Abso-fucking-lutely. However, we don't know where he's going to get traded, or not even traded. He's not going to get traded. He's going to sign somewhere. If he signs with a really good team,
I hope he stays back. If the cap goes up, they could afford him, but they got to pay Tom Wilson. They got to pay. I think it's Michael Kempney. They got a few. This happens every year to the Capitals. They have to pay a bunch of people, and they can only pick like one or two of them. I hope they pick him.
I hope they don't. I want to see him play somewhere else.
Yeah,
but that's because I like disparity. So I think he's going to do well next year, but is he going to have another season like he had this season? Is he going to score almost 70 points as a defenseman? No, I don't think so, especially if he's not on as potent of an offense and as potent of a power play as he was this year in Washington. No, he's not going to score 68 points. It's just not going to happen. So is he due for a regression? Yes, I believe so.
Yeah.
Unless he goes to... Do you know where actually I'd like to see him go?
Hold on, let me think.
Where would I say that I'd like to see him go?
Colorado?
That's not what I was going to say. I thought you were going to get this. I thought you would be able to jump into the recesses of my mind and think
I'm trying to think of like dark horses here. I mean, obviously Philadelphia would be dope, but
yeah, but I'm okay. I am one that is. I'm not a fan of just being a homer for home's sake.
Oh, okay. I got it.
I lost you.
Toronto. You want to see him go to Toronto?
Ooh, that would be nice. I wasn't even thinking that. I would fucking love it if he went to fucking Toronto. That would be awesome. No, I was going to say the Dallas Stars. I think he would do really well on the Dallas Stars.
I wonder if they have the money for that. Because they just paid Ben Bishop a shit ton of money. Radulov got a shit ton of money.
You could move stuff around. I just think that it would be a really good. I think it would be a really good fit for him and his style of play. Him next to John Klingberg would be fucking ridiculous.
Sure. What side each of them shoot with? John Carlson shoots right. Let me see. Let's see what Klingberg shoots.
Klingberg shoots right as well.
Does he?
But what I was just going to say is that would be a crazy defense pairing. Chances are you'd probably mix them up so that there would be a top-tier defenseman on both your first and second line defense, which Dallas needs. Dallas needs to not be so fucking top-heavy. And I think that John Carlson could really hold down that second line defense. And I just think it would be a good fit for just his style of play.
I agree.
Make it happen, Dallas.
I don't think it'll happen.
I don't think it'll happen either. I just think it would be a good fit.
I think he's probably gonna wind up just where he is, and they're gonna shuffle things around and keep him. They need to.
I hope not. I want to see new faces and new places.
Yeah, that would be. I mean, everybody likes to see that. Like Stamkos a few years back was having that whole free agency bullshit, and he wound up just staying. I think the same thing's going to happen with Tavares. The same thing's going to happen with Klingberg, or not Klingberg, with Karlsson.
I really don't think that the same thing's going to happen with Tavares. I think Tavares is fucking gone.
I do. I think it's too much build up, and he's just going to be like, yeah, fuck it, I'll stay. Yeah. So,
all right, Wild Bill.
Yeah, let's move on to the other side of the ice of the Stanley Cup. We just got done watching the Stanley Cup, and William Karlsson was kind of there in the final, at least.
Who was disappointed? Raise your hand.
You.
I have my hand raised.
So William Karlsson was kind of the biggest anomaly this year. He is our first second-round pick out of all the players we're talking about. He went 53rd overall to Anaheim back in 2011. He's 25 years old, left-handed shot, center, 6'1", 189, kind of like an average AFB, average fucking guy, AFG. He played 2 years ago with Columbus, as we all know. He played 81 games, had 25 points, 6 goals, 19 assists, 1 point on the power play. It was a lone goal with 96 shots on goal at 6.3%. That's where we're going to see our biggest jump outside of time on ice. He played just under 13 and a half minutes on ice. He's never been one for like hits or faceoffs. This year he played 82 games, had 43 goals, 35 assists for 78 points. He tripled his 16-17.
Tripled his fucking career high.
He was a plus fucking 49. Plus fucking 49. Are you kidding me? Like, Jesus fuck.
I don't care if you don't like plus or minus. That is a fucking stat right there. Plus 49. You don't see that shit. You just don't see it.
He had 16 points on the power play, 8 power play goals, 8 power play assists, 184 shots on goal. So he doubled his shots on goal total on 322 shot attempts. And this is where, as everybody knows, the elephant in the room comes in. He had a 23.4 shooting percentage.
Damn.
Which is way too fucking high. Way too high. And that's
ridiculous. Ridiculous.
So I'm sure you're going to bring it up too, but Jesus, shooting percentage, man. The dude was like crazy lucky. We know he's got smooth hands. Like you saw that shorthanded goal where he went through the legs to undress Martin Jones this year. That was on every highlight reel. It was on Instagram everywhere, Twitter everywhere. But he shot almost 24%. That means 1 in 4 shots went into the net. That's impossibly high. There's no chance it's going to happen. We saw with Oshie last year, who went from 33 goals to 18 this year. And he brought his 23% shooting percentage to 14% this year. Much more sustainable. Karlsson, on the other hand, has a 10.6 shooting percentage average before this year. And this year inflates it to 14.6 average.
Okay, so I don't think that he is going to regress to the point where he has a fucking 8.3 shooting percentage again.
No,
you know
but I
think he's gonna level out at around 12, 13, 14%.
So even if that's the case, that's still if he drops 10% to like 13, right where you're saying, that brings him to like a reasonable 25 goals. So he can very well be a 25 to 30 goal scorer as a top liner in Vegas. But I and everyone in the hockey analytics community is going to agree that shooting percentage is never, ever going to be as sustainable by anyone at 24%. So we've said it a lot this episode, and we've said it a few times before this episode. We only have one season of data to look at with Karlsson too. So like we were saying with Couturier, with Giroux, with Matt Barzal, like we only have one 82-game season to look at. So only time is going to tell, but I do think it's more than realistic to see Wild Bill lose between about 10 to 15, maybe to 20 goals from this year to next year. Even at that rate, he's still a 60-point guy and should be drafted as such. So the other players, let the other players
more than 180 shots though.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So he's going to have to shoot a lot more.
He's a fucking top line guy. Why is he only taking 184 shots? So, I mean, number one, that would have brought his shooting percentage down a little bit, or maybe he would have scored even more fucking points. But he needs to be taking at least 200 shots. So I mean, let's just be fucking honest here. If he's not taking more than 200 shots, I'm pissed.
Well, he took 322 total shot attempts, but only 184 hit the back of the net. So that's just above 50% like accuracy rating there. But I think at the end of the day, just let the other players in your league draft him like a 40 goal scorer, and you could pick up more stable players in the round they wind up taking Wild Bill in. If he does wind up going a little later, take a chance. Fine, I'm cool with that, but don't draft him as a 40 goal scorer. He's not a 40 goal scorer.
No, I totally agree. I would let somebody else draft him. I'm a big William Karlsson fan too. Like I fell in love with these guys just like everybody else did. I was enamored with Vegas. Pretty early in the season, I kind of saw the writing on the wall. I picked up David Perron. I picked up Marc-Andre Fleury, and I rode them to the end. I mean, and they really helped me. I wish I would have had William Karlsson, but I didn't have the foresight for that.
So I think it'd be safe to say that if William Karlsson here is losing 15 to 20 to maybe 25 goals next year, that you could see a drop in Marchessault in his assist total, because a lot of those primary assists from Marchessault went to Wild Bill and vice versa. So they were playing a lot on each other's goals. Their points percentage really high between the two. So like we were saying with McKinnon and Rantanen, like we were saying with Giroux and Couturier, like we were saying with Dustin Brown and Anze Kopitar, those two guys, Marchessault and Karlsson, are kind of tied together if they're playing on the same line next year.
Their fates are definitely correlated in a big way. But also,
that's only 10 points right there.
Take a look at that whole Vegas team. Are we going to regress back to the point where at this time last year, Vegas was kind of, for the most part, just getting underway. We had no idea what to expect, and really everybody just thought that they were going to be horrible.
Yeah.
Does the whole team take a step back?
Yeah, I can see that.
Are they not even a playoff team next year, or do they
continue
do they continue their style of play? Luckily for them, they're in the Pacific, which is really going to help them. But I'm looking forward to see what the future has for Vegas.
No doubt.
I don't know that they'll make it to the Stanley Cup Finals like they did this past year. I hope so. But before we actually even started the podcast, TJ and I were talking about Vegas a little bit. And one of the things that I had said was they have so many assets.
Yeah. They can make some serious moves this offseason.
What are they going to do with those assets? Are they going to make it? It seems to me like they should make moves fucking now. Okay, yeah, they can draft. That's great. But they have proven that they have the ability to make it far, do very well. Is this your immediate window? Did you walk right into a window as soon as you got into the party? And so you have the ability. I think they need to strike while the iron's hot.
There's a lot of factors at play here. So we all know the NHL is a copycat league. So maybe a lot of teams are going to start going towards the pay guys, $3-5 million, and just ride like maybe 4 second lines. And they do have the cap for an Erik Karlsson, which is what a lot of us are thinking right now, is that they could make a move for Erik Karlsson, but then they got to take on Bobby Ryan's contract. And then you got 2 shitty contracts on your books. I think they took, I forget the guy's name, but they took the guy from Columbus to get William Karlsson, and they ate that contract. And then you got Bobby Ryan, and then you got Erik Karlsson. But I think the return was a first rounder, Cody Glass, and Colin Miller. So you're giving up a top 4 D-man, a first round pick last year, and then a first round pick this year for Erik Karlsson, who could very well just not be the guy that we saw 2-3 years ago. And if that's what you think that you need to win the Stanley Cup, I mean, you did it without him. So maybe just a smaller piece. Maybe the John Carlson is what they need. I don't know. It's gonna be really fun to watch this offseason, what Vegas does. We know that they can be really savvy with picking up picks, but they can also be really stupid with giving away picks, i.e. Thomas Tatar, a first, a second, and a third. So,
oh my God.
Yeah, they're gonna
start it.
It's interesting.
But hey,
so I think this
Erik Karlsson playing with Nate Schmidt, that would be sweet.
Yeah,
I'd
like to watch it.
I'd be a big fan of that. I like Nate Schmidt a lot. I think he's not going to score you goals, but that kid, he cares. Like he does. Yeah. You can tell while he's out there, he fucking just gives a shit. Like
he gave some fucks this year.
Oh my God, he did. I like Nate Schmidt. Nate Schmidt, if you're listening, you're the man, dude.
All right, man. You got anything else to add on top of this?
Frank Vetrano, if you're listening, fuck you. All right?
Yeah, man. Fuck you, dude.
Fuck you, dude. You suck. You meathead sack of shit.
All right. I think that is our cue. We can wrap this thing up. So everybody.
By the way, this scotch is delicious. It's from fucking what is the name of this place? It is from Roth's Moray, Scotland. It is.
What's the name of
it? Spyburn.
I've never heard of it. I'm drinking the good old Jameson.
When I was at the liquor store, I just had a hankering for some scotch.
Yeah.
So I was just looking around for something that wasn't like fucking $120 a bottle, you know what I mean? But also wasn't like $15 a bottle. So I got a nice kind of middle of the road thing. I think this was like $60 a bottle or something like that. Damn. It is, but it is delicious. It is.
See, if I'm spending that kind of money, I like Redbreast, just Irish whiskey. That's a really good whiskey.
Yeah, but I wanted scotch. I was in the mood for scotch. Like I like a nice peaty scotch.
Peaty.
Like peat moss. It tastes like fucking peat moss, dude. I love this shit.
Like Lafroig up that alley.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lafroig. Ugh. I didn't like
I want to feel like I'm drowning in a bog.
You got to drink more, man. All right. I'm gonna wrap this thing up. I'm fucking starving.
I ate my turkey sandwich and it was delicious. You should have made a podcast sandwich. I'm telling you, podcast sandwiches are the fucking way to go.
I'll make one for the next episode. I think next episode we're thinking about doing the vocab lesson. Is that what we're gonna do? The like define PDO and that kind of shit. Is that what we're doing, or do you have something maybe we can talk about?
Sure. I'll message you later.
Okay, cool. So everybody, I do want to thank you guys for listening. Once again, our episode is brought to you by Hoser Hockey Company. If you guys head over there, hoserhockeycode.com, you can use our promo code at checkout. It's FHF Hockey. It'll get you a certain amount of money off of your total bill. I forget what the number is, but it's more than zero. So that's pretty cool. I think it's like 10% or $10 or $20 or 20%. I forget. But anyway, you're going to save some money if you use that promo code FHF Hockey. Feel free to get over to our Twitter at FHF Hockey. You can hit us up with any and all questions. Tell us that we suck. If you're Frank Vetrano, like you can tweet at me as much as you want, man. I got the middle of finger emoji like on lock. It's on my most used. I'm ready for you, bud. So
Frank Vetrano can
to the iTunes
Twitter,
give us a 5-star review if you dig it. Yeah, you tweet us the fucking all the time, man. Tweet at us. Do it.
I don't even have a Twitter.
He's probably gonna break the keyboard though. He's gonna break the keyboard. He's gonna touch the keyboard and it's just gonna explode because he's so damn strong.
I'm so angry.
All right, guys. That's everything. So I think I said, leave us a review. Do the Twitter thing. All that stuff. All my boxes are checked. So thanks for listening, guys. We love you.
Love you.
All right, that's where I'll end it, man. Yeah, that's all I got. I gotta go. Vicky's she's home now. She's hungry. I'm hungry.
Yeah, it's all good. I'm gonna get packed up here and I'm gonna head fishing.
That sounds like a good time.
I'm going to I'm going to. So there's that place that I call it like the 9-pounder, but the spot I went to before that, I had a bass break my line.
Jesus. What are you using?
There are huge fucking bass down here.
What are you using?
No, I think I have 10-pound test on, but okay. So it broke my fucking line. And then I caught some smaller one. I caught some smaller ones after that. For that, I was using like a plastic fluke.
Damn.
Kind of mimics a minnow, but I just bought a Whopper Plopper lure. It's topwater. I've been fishing a lot of topwater lately, and I just bought this thing. Is
Whopper Plopper. That sounds fun.
Yeah, that's what it's called. On sale, this thing was like $9.75 on sale.
Not bad. That's a pricey piece of equipment. Not on sale.
That's what I'm saying. Like regularly, this lure is like $15 fucking.
Christ. Oh, it better work.
So I'm excited to use it. I see people catching shit all the time with them on FishBrain. So I'm gonna give it a shot.
Right on, man. Send me some pictures if you catch some good stuff.
Yeah, I'll let you know. Okay. I'll see you later, brother. I love you.
Yeah. Love you back. See ya.
Bye.